What's going on, growers? It's James Prigioni coming to you live from Jersey. 9 years ago, this was just a regular backyard. Now, it's a food forest garden. Let's go! Back in 2012, when me and Tuck first started this journey, this whole backyard was just grass, except there was one section where there used to be an above ground pool and it was all sand. Me and Tuck actually started planting our first garden right into that sand. And we didn't get that much food at the start, but it was important that it was the start. I'm in that spot right now, in that same location, and you can see how completely different it is. It's basically unnoticeable. Then later that fall and winter is when me and Tuck started to put in the foundations that would lead to this whole food forest. After we put down the wood chips, me and Tuck laid out the garden in a natural pattern that's found in nature. Then we started planting. We started putting things into the ground. One of the first things that we got in were these grapes right here. This is a North American grape, and you can see how big the stalk on it has gotten over the years. It's just incredible. This is the Niagara Grape, and we always wanted a section where we could have grapes trellised above us and we could just walk underneath it and grab them as they're ripening. It's finally come together in fruition, and it's a good feeling to be able to come out here and grab them when they are ripe. But we didn't just plant grapes. We wanted to plant anything and everything, essentially, that we could in our particular location. I'm in zone 7A here. So we planted cherries, like we have here, and a Rainier cherry, like we got great harvest from earlier on the year. I'll show you a clip of that. We didn't just want fruits though. We wanted things like nuts, because those are foundational if you want to have a food forest. They'll help extend your season. So we got some hazelnuts in, as you'll see right here. These hazelnuts have a lot of fruit. a lot of nuts on them. And these nuts are so great because we can use them for long-term storage or even make nut butters and stuff. So an essential thing to have. And nuts take a good amount of time before you can actually get fruit from them. So while we were waiting for the nuts, something we did was plant a lot of annuals, and we also planted some other fruits that we could get fruit on quicker. So this pear tree right here, you can get fruit on this pear tree after just like 3 or 4 years. This one has been a great producer. It hasn't gotten much larger over the years, but it constantly puts out a lot of pears. Then behind us here, we put some persimmons in. The reason we put the persimmons in was to help extend our season and our harvest. So early in the year, we'll start getting things like strawberries in May, and then later in the year, we'll get things like persimmons and stuff all the way up to October and November. Because this variety is an astringent variety, so they're not ready until like a frost comes. So this way we're really extending our time of harvest. We also put in things like asparagus right next to us. That's one of the earliest season things. And with a lot of these perennials, it's so great having them because after you get your garden started, after you get things in, it's mostly just about maintenance and harvesting. I've got some amazing apples though I want to bring you over to, and we'll snack on some in a little bit. As I take a step past this hazelnut right here, I want to show you this Honeycrisp apple tree. I only put this in 4 years ago and it is absolutely loaded with apples, looking beautiful. We've got some shiso growing right underneath that. I let this shiso just come up on its own because it looks so beautiful and it adds nice contrast and color to the garden. Right next to me here, we've got some massive tomatoes, height-wise. Look at this thing. This thing is just loaded with fruit. I've never seen so many tomatoes, and the bumblebees are working hard on the tomatoes. You'll notice they're just doing some work on the flowers, going crazy right here, just loving it. And that's what we love to see. More nice tomatoes right here next to us, the Sun Gold Cherry. And then right behind the Sun Gold Cherry, we've got another apple tree that I put in 4 years ago, doing so well. A lot of apples on it. And you'll notice that I said that this apple tree and the one before, that I only put that in 4 years ago. There's a reason that I only have about 4 or 5 year old apples, while some trees like the peaches, I have 7 or 8 year old trees. So this peach tree right behind us here, it's got a bunch of peaches on it. It looks beautiful, but it's a lot older than my apple trees. So I had an issue the first couple years with the garden, and that's one of the reasons that I love to make these videos. And I've talked about in the past how nature, I call nature the teacher and the forest is the classroom, and that's just kind of how it worked out, where this food forest, this old one, this garden, became my classroom, and I learned a lot of things the hard way, which kind of stinks, but at least I learned them. So one of the things I learned, which was so important, which I love sharing, is the importance of variety. When I first put those apple trees in, the old ones, they were the wrong varieties. They were things like Red Delicious and Yellow Delicious, like this one here. Here's a Yellow Delicious apple, not the right variety. It doesn't do good in my location, and it's never put out a good amount of fruit. So that's why I put the new younger ones in. While right next to me here, we've got the peaches that are older, and these look beautiful because these were better varieties that were put in early. So This food forest, this 9-year-old one, even though I didn't do it as well as I could have, it's been incredible value because it's led me to the new food forest, the 4-year-old one, which I'm going to bring you in next. And everything has come together with that. The level of production is incredible. I'm getting more food out of that garden than even this one. And overall, there were so many lessons that I learned from this that I was able to bring into that one. Now we're in the 4-year-old food forest, the one that's just cranking out food. Right here is the Birdies Raised Bed. As you can see, we've got a lot of stuff growing in here. We've got cucumbers, peppers coming through, eggplants, basil, flowers in the back, all different stuff. Then in the keyhole raised bed right here, we've got some zucchini that's doing excellent, kale back there, cucumbers along the fence line, and more tomatoes back there, trellised up against stakes, and between that we have cucumbers. Then look at that fence line, follow it along. It's a common theme throughout the gardens, especially this one. We've got grapes growing along all the fence lines, trying to make the most of it and get a double function, using the fences to keep things out but also grow stuff up. And look at this right here. We've got grapes that are just about ripe. Nothing gets me more excited than seeing this. I bet they're not perfectly tasting, but I bet they're getting really sweet. Let's be careful and pull one of these off. And then taste how they are. This is the slip skin grapes. Really getting sweet. Such good flavor. It looks like Tuck's trying to dig a hole under here. Hey buddy, take it easy, Tuck. So he's digging a hole under there to cool off a little bit. This guy's always out here, even when it's brutally hot out. And hit that like button if you love seeing Tuck in the videos. Such a good guy. Notice right in front of him here, we've got these 3 asparagus plants. These are ones I planted just in the spring. I showed you guys exactly how I did it. It's really easy to do. It's one of those things everyone should get into the ground. Let's keep moving though and check out some of these tomatoes that we have planted in these beautiful rows right here, all tied up. These tomatoes are doing excellent, loaded with tomatoes. I mean, look at this incoming harvest. You'll love to see it. Down here too, excellent. Some of the sun gold cherries are already ripening. They're so good, so sweet. One of my favorite tasting tomatoes. Not everyone's perfect, but they look fantastic. Then to the right of me, we've got an issue. And this is just a little bit of evidence that not everything works perfect every time. Sometimes it's gonna rain on your parade. So I just wanted to show this because this is something that we're going to have to be removing. I'm not exactly what's wrong with the plant, I'm not sure, but I'm just gonna be removing it because it's not doing well. Overall, the tomatoes are doing fantastic. Look at the Costaluto Genovese in the back. Look how many are on that set. And just to the right, look how many tomatoes are in that one. Just incredible, so much fruit. I also wanted to show you this fence line over here. Look at all the grapes we have. And there's one section where we have small grapes growing, just a little bit of a different variety. And then right to the right of that, we've got a larger variety. It's time. Let's grab a fresh apple right from the tree. This is a Williams Pride apple and look how many it has on it right now. For just a 4-year-old tree, this is an excellent harvest. This is an early variety, so it's ready in August. And when they are ready, they start falling to the ground. Look at the one that has just fallen this morning. Beautiful color on that, look at that. But I want to grab a fresh one off the tree. Look at this one here. Nothing like growing fresh organic apples in your own backyard. So delicious and so good. Snapping right off beautifully. And look at this white that's on it. That's not something you really see in the stores. You get that with the cucumbers too, but this thing, when you see them in the stores, is a lot shinier and brighter than this. And the reason is because they just shine it. So let me show you what it looks like after we shine this baby with just my shirt. We'll just take the shirt and shine it up. Just wipe off all that white. Look at that. Beautiful. I'm here to tell you that growing your own food in your backyard, starting your own food forest, it's worth it. I've done it 9 or 10 years later. It's definitely worth the time and worth the effort. There are some instances where maybe it doesn't feel like it after a year or two, but stick with it and it all comes together. So delicious, so juicy, incredible flavor. So thankful and grateful. Right next to us here is another apple tree with just a bunch of apples on it. Looks like it's gonna be an excellent harvest also. This year has been an overall bumper crop for our apples. Another tree right next to us over here too. But before we get to that, we've got these huge tomatoes getting so tall and a lot of fruit on them. This tomato right here is a little unique because I buried something underneath it a little distinct, which is different than this one. So we've got a fun video coming up in the future. Stick along for that. I think it's going to be a good one. Again, apples right here, loaded with apples, looking fantastic. A different variety. This way we're extending our season. Very good. Then over here, we've got some peaches. This is the frost peach. And I thinned this one out recently, so it's doing a lot better than it was. And the tree looks pretty well. It looks like it's going to be a great producer in the future, although there are probably too much fruit on it at this young age right now. But only 4 years in, they look good. Let me grab one of these peaches right here. It's not the biggest peach ever, but it's ready and it's going to be delicious. So apples and peaches, only about 10 feet away. Before we had strawberries and stuff, I feel very fortunate and thankful. Let's take a bite. So sweet, so delicious. This is what it's all about. Let's keep going though. As I pass this apple right next to me, there's a roadside plum right here. More tomatoes. To the right of me, you can see this pear tree. This is an Asian pear just loaded with pears on it. Then I've got blueberries right here. We've got the pink lemonade blueberry and the Patriot. Another apple tree with a bunch of apples. Strawberries underneath me, which will be huge producers in the coming spring. And then another peach tree with a bunch of peaches on it. This is the Mary Jane peach. We're just waiting for these babies to ripen. And then right next to me here, I talked about this earlier, how the sunflowers, we're gonna watch over the garden. So they've come out, they put their heads out, and they're just kind of watching over the garden, looking beautiful, and just putting a smile on our face every time we come out here. That's today's video, growers. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of it. Some of you may have an opportunity to build a fruit forest or a garden like this. Maybe you're just lacking the idea or the information or the encouragement or the inspiration. That's what this video is here for. I don't want you to miss out on fresh apples, peaches, grapes, strawberries, and all that because of lack of information or encouragement as opposed to lack of opportunity. If you don't have the opportunity to do it, then that's one thing. But if you have the opportunity and you miss out on it, I just don't want that to happen. That could be a sad thing, in my opinion. Before I let you guys go, I wanted to thank Cheryl Merrill for your subscription to Team Grow. It means a lot for you to be a member and to know that we're creating value and you're willing to contribute back for that. It means a lot. I also wanted to thank everyone who's giving the new super thanks that you can contribute into the videos. That means a lot, again, to know that we're creating some value. So thank you for all that. Before I let you go though, I wanted to say to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share with your friends. Don't forget to check out the merch down low. And remember, whenever you're on Amazon, start your shopping with our Amazon affiliate link. Tuck and James will be back at you again real soon. We out.